Welcome into OutKick, the show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope all of you are having fantastic Tuesdays, wherever you may be, around the world or in this fabulous country. Maybe you're even watching on the Gulf of America, a place that I'm very proud to own property. We'll get into that in a bit, perhaps. But off the top, couple of corrections, because you guys know that nobody cares more about the truth than me. Yesterday, Adam was out, although to be fair, I don't know that Adam would have caught this either. Pop quiz, what is the capital of the state of Missouri? Yesterday, I said that Columbia, Missouri was the capital of the state of Missouri. Right before we started the show today, how many people are watching this show at OutKick? Adam, will you give me a tally? Adam is the official fact checker. Adam was out yesterday. I asked everybody, what is the capital of Missouri on text? And I'm talking to them down the line on the mic here. There was a profound silence on the text chain. Nobody knew what the capital of Missouri was. I used to know what the capital of Missouri was because, like all of you, one day back in the day, we had to memorize all of the state capitals. I said yesterday, I was correct because I was talking about the country Columbia. And I was saying Columbia, South Carolina, capital of South Carolina. And then I said Columbia, Missouri. To me, kind of the capital of Missouri because that's where Mizzou is. I thought it was the state capital. I was wrong. It turns out the state capital is actually Jefferson City, which I'm going to tell you, I would have had to guess on that one for a really, really long time to get it right. And I bet the vast majority of you no longer remember, unless you live in Missouri or used to live in Missouri, what the capital of Missouri is. It's one of those states that has a city that doesn't feel like it should be the capital. Like, I'll give you a couple that I remember off the top of my head. If you don't live in Kentucky, Frankfort should have never been the capital of Kentucky, right? Should have been Lexington, should have been Louisville. That's the clear choice. They went with Frankfort, all right? Capital of Illinois, Springfield? Like, more people know Springfield because it's the capital of the city in The Simpsons than know that it's the capital of Illinois. Chicago? Maybe it would have been made more sense to name the capital of Illinois, Chicago. Just tossing it out there. Would have made a lot more sense. Both, by the way, the show coming up, both Withrow and Hutton also said Columbia, Missouri was the capital of Missouri. Again, I don't want to alienate the state of Missouri, so I wanted to make sure we got this right. Also, every now and then I'm going to start responding to emails that randomly arrive that come to me. This is one that I got 48 minutes ago. The subject is, hey, stupid. And this person wrote, on your little show today, you said social media brought about Black Lives Matter, and you said white supremacy wasn't real. Wait until you hear who was on stage with Dump in Las Vegas, the founder of a white supremacy group, but sure, it's all on social media. Do you ever think about the stupid shit you say and you still didn't get to be the minister of sport, dolt? He misspelled minister, by the way. But is there a minister of sport? Is that an actual title? Why didn't I get that title? I mean, sorry. Who is more deserving of the title of minister of sport in the Trump administration to the extent it exists than me? Has anybody else heard of this position? I'd never had heard until I got this angry email entitled, hey, stupid. Can you think of anybody else who's more deserving of the Minister of Sport title? If that actually exists, sounds like something that would be in England, candidly, because they talk about sport. I didn't know it existed. Maybe I should be outraged. I didn't even know that I was in the running. I didn't know that I could have requested it. Thought about maybe being the ambassador to the Bahamas, ambassador to Jamaica. Doesn't sound like an awful job. Minister of Sport, that should have been me. Why was I left out? Anyway, that is off the top of the show. Apologies to the state of Missouri. And also, I am stupid. And I apologize to everyone out there who has to regularly deal with my stupidity. We got a lot to dive into. First of all, in terms of news, 57.7 million people watched the Chiefs-Bills game on CBS Sunday night. I was one of them. I bet almost every single one of you out there was one of them. This is the second highest rated non-Super Bowl game in the history of the NFL. I think this ties in to a certain extent with the larger issue in play here, which is the NFL is still setting basically record highs, and college football is floundering. Why? I mean this honestly. Why would only 22 million people watch Ohio State Notre Dame and 57.7 million people would watch Bills Chiefs? Why would the audience nearly triple? Now, part of it's on CBS, part of it's the NFL, but I think if you're a college football fan like me, you got two big brands, Notre Dame and Ohio State. Why are there 3 times as many people who will watch a Final Four game in NFL than will watch the final game in college football? What is college football doing that it doesn't grab all of these other people who clearly love football? And don't even get me started. I'm not even talking about the casual fan, because over 100 million people are going to watch the Super Bowl. I've been on this rant for my entire media career. Who are the people that don't watch the NFC and the AFC championship game and then suddenly show up and watch the Super Bowl? 2 weeks before, you're not willing to watch the Final Four teams play, but then on Super Bowl Sunday, suddenly over 100 million people watch? I don't understand that. I've never understood who these people are. I watch an embarrassing amount of football. I watch pretty much every football game that matters. On football, college football Saturday, I turn on the games at 11 a.m., and I oftentimes do not finish watching games till after midnight. Trust me, much of my life, I sit around saying, man, I give away a lot of September and October Saturdays, which probably is the best weather. Certainly October is. If you ask me to power rank months, I think late September, early October, to all the way through Halloween, the best time of the year, right? It's typically not super hot, typically not super cold. The leaves are changing. Everybody gets dressed up and throws and goes and has parties on Halloween. It's the best time of year. I give away all those Saturdays. I'm going to sound like my wife. I give away all those Saturdays to sit and watch college football. College football should happen in like January and February when the weather's awful and nobody else wants to do anything but sit on the couch and watch games. My rant. Best time of the year, non-football season, May. The 2 best months of the year, power ranked, May and October. You can argue other months, you will be wrong. I love everything about May. I love everything about October. In fact, when my kids eventually leave and go off to college, and I sound like Bill Cosby now because I was looking at the calendar the other day. Remember when Bill Cosby was just, all he wanted was his kids to leave the house? That was the subtext of the entire Cosby Show. Go back and watch the Cosby Show. Bill Cosby is just like, when are these kids going to leave? When do I get my house back? When do I get back control of my life? My youngest is 10, and it sounds like 8 years sounds like a long time. 8 years is going to pass like this. My oldest just turned 17 yesterday. Next year, he goes off to college. So my 10-year-old, I'm trying to do as much as I can with them. They're going to be gone soon. I'm going to go to the beach for the entire month of May. Best thing about COVID, I took my family to the beach for the entire month of May. You go back and look at my tweet. I was like, everything's shutting down. Kids aren't going to school. How often are we going to be able to go to the beach for the month of May? I took the whole family down to Florida. We spent the whole month of May at the beach. I was like, how often are the whole school going to be shut down? All the sports are going to be shut down. Kids have got nothing going on. Let's just go to the beach for the month. In fact, my middle son, when 2020 ended and everybody was like, thank the Lord, we've made it through 2020. I can't wait for 2021 to get here. My middle son said 2020 is the greatest year of his life. I was like, what do you mean by that? He said, Dad, they shut down school in March and we didn't ever have to go back. We got to go to the beach for the whole month of May. And because everything was shut down, you and Mom were always here just to hang out and play. It's the best year ever. Kind of an interesting perspective. Most people would disagree. My 10-year-old's perspective was 2020 could have gotten better. And if you think about it, when you were a kid, you got a snow day that was unexpected. It was the greatest day ever. These knuckleheads got the whole school year canceled. One day in March, they woke up, they didn't have to go to school, and they didn't have to go to school again until August. This is like the best thing ever could happen for my 10-year-old. I don't even know how I got off on all this, but 57.7 million people watch Chiefs Bills. Who are the people that will show up and watch the AFC Championship game and will not show up and watch the college football championship game? If I were in charge of college football, I would get on the phone with CBS and Fox, who also have college football games, and I would say, give me all the data on this. Who is in our untapped market? Why are we not delivering for all of these people out there that are huge football fans but are choosing not to spend their time watching the college football playoff? Because I want to grow the game. I want to grow everything that we do. I want to grow everything that we do at OutKick. I want us to get bigger and better. If I was the college football commissioner, or if I were Greg Sankey or Tony Petitti or Jim Phillips out there running Brett Yormark, all these different major conferences, I would want to get the data on why are we not getting all of the NFL fans. I understand you're not going to get them all. Why can't we get half of them? Why can't we get half of the audience or 60% of the audience that watches the AFC Championship game? Now, we're going down. We got a big crew that's going down for the Super Bowl next week. Excited about that. Be fun to be in New Orleans. But I do question, because I saw these numbers too, the Washington-Philadelphia game only had 44.2 million viewers. Now, part of it's doubleheader. Second game should be higher rated. The game was way better, went into the evening, Sunday night, way better of a lineup. I get it. My concern is Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes has turned into a modern-day version of Peyton Manning against Tom Brady. It's Phil Mickelson against Tiger Woods. It's something that every sports fan cares about. I don't know that Patrick Mahomes against Jalen Hurts has the same sizzle. We saw it 2 years ago. I just don't think that many people out there are like, hey, you know who a worthy adversary of Patrick Mahomes is? It's Jalen Hurts. Not a shot at Jalen Hurts. Yesterday, if you listen to the show, I said I don't know that there is a worthy adversary for Patrick Mahomes. I think he may well be Michael Jordan. So that's no indictment of Jalen Hurts. I think as close to a worthy adversary as we have been able to uncover, even though he's 0-4 against him, is Josh Allen. People want to see the champ challenged. Not to say Philly can't win. They almost won 2 years ago in Phoenix. Last-second Chiefs win. But I don't feel like if Jalen Hurts wins that people are going to be like, hey, the best quarterback in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, second best Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts not in the top four. I mean, Nick Foles beat Peyton Manning for the Eagles. So a guy who is not on that caliber can win. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying I don't know that the general fan cares as much about Patrick Mahomes against Jalen Hurts as they do about Patrick Mahomes against Josh Allen. And so as I break this down, I don't know that we'll set an all-time record. Maybe I'm wrong. The Chiefs are provoking a lot of love and hate, as dynasties typically do, and as the New England Patriots did back in the day. So maybe that is actually more powerful and more resonant as we sit here, whatever it is, 12 days until the Super Bowl. But I really don't have that sense. I feel like we're not going to have the same amount of sizzle for the Super Bowl as I would expect. And let me tie this in here. The Cowboys have hired a new coach, Schottenheimer, Marty Schottenheimer's son, Brian. And everybody's talking about the press conference and how all of that is setting up for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to have a bit of a contrarian take here. I don't think it matters who the Dallas Cowboys hire as a head coach. I think Dion would have been far more exciting than Schottenheimer. But Dak is the quarterback. The quarterback matters so much more, and I would put Dak somewhere around 10 to 12 best quarterback in the NFL. And if you have the 10th to 12th best quarterback in the NFL-ish, to me, you have virtually no chance of winning a Super Bowl. The only thing that works in Dak Prescott's favor and the Dallas Cowboy favor is the NFC is a quarterback wasteland. The four best quarterbacks in order, in my opinion, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. I would put the four best. They're all young and on the AFC side. NFC side, best young quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Big drop-off right now after that. Kyler Murray really hasn't taken the proverbial next step. You got a lot of guys that are older and or so young that they have not proven anything yet. Bryce Young finished the season better, not sold on him. Baker is a rehab project. Derek Carr is old. Matt Stafford is old. Geno Smith is old. I mean old relative to football, not old relative to your boy here or normal life. Michael Penix has barely played, didn't really look to me like he was going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in his limited debut time. Kirk Cousins got benched. Jared Goff can't get over the proverbial hump, get to the next level. Caleb Williams hasn't shown that he's the answer yet. NFC is a quarterback wasteland. So if I'm trying to make the bullish case for the Cowboys, it's that there aren't a lot of great young quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels is basically it. And so if I'm looking at the Cowboys and I say, hey, that's in our division, we know how to play against those guys. Can we scheme a way to get the division championship? Maybe. And if we do, is there a pathway to the Super Bowl where we don't have to go through Mahomes, we don't have to go through Josh Allen, we don't have to go through Lamar Jackson, we don't have to go through Joe Burrow? By the way, that's my reality as a Tennessee Titans fan and why I want to just curl up in the fetal position and cry, because we're never getting through those four guys. I turned to my son when the Titans blew the home playoff game against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. They sacked him 9 times. 9 times. Ferris Bueller voice. And Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions. Evan McPherson bombed through a 50-plus yard field goal. My son, middle son, was with me at that game. And he said, Dad, why do you look so bad? I said, it's going to be 20 years until we're a game from the AFC Championship again. And I hated to see it in his face. I was like, you're 10. You're going to be 30. You're going to have a mortgage, and you're going to be married, and you might have kids before the Titans are in this position again. I said, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, we're not beating those guys. We were the 1 seed. We somehow got there. This was our window. And then in March or April or whatever the heck it was, they trade away A.J. Brown, and now the Titans are the worst team in the NFL. And my 10-year-old, now he's 14, like, hey, you only got 16 more years till you're 30, and the Titans are going to be back in the mix. And I also said, and I don't know how many people have actually been there for all of these, I've been to 3 NFL divisional round playoff games in Nashville where the Titans were favored in all 3, and if they won, they would have hosted the AFC Championship game. I've been to all 3 of those games, twice to the Ravens, once to the Bengals. They lost all 3. Never have hosted an AFC Championship game. And you know what I just did? Stroked a check, $45K for new Titans PSLs. There's no reason for optimism, but this is what I'm doing. Cowboy fans, you have no reason for optimism either. Jerry Jones, an incredible businessman, actually a great actor. If you look at what he did in, what's the show, Landman, was great. No hope. You have no hope of winning a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott as your quarterback. I'm sorry. Your head coach does not matter. They're going to lose because your team is not good enough at the quarterback position. If you don't have a top 5 quarterback-ish, you're probably not going to win a championship. Bit of a benefit to being in the NFC, but that may be fading. There may be good young quarterbacks coming in on that side of the equation. All right, I got a couple of clips I want to play for you guys. Stephen A. Smith went on Bill Maher on Friday. Stephen A. Smith, soon to be the highest paid talent at ESPN. He went on Bill Maher's show and basically came off the top rope on the Democrat Party. A lot of reaction to this clip. I want to play it for you, and then I want to analyze it.
Kamala Harris, who didn't resonate during the primaries in 2020, couldn't even get to Iowa, suddenly is the Democratic nominee. And then you roll up at the convention in Chicago, and everybody's like, she's a rock star. So it was like, wait a minute, how that happen? I don't know how that happened. So you're looking at all of those things and you're saying, yes, I voted for her. A lot of people voted for her. But in the end, we end up feeling like damn fools because we supported it. We fell for the okie doke, as they say. You know she didn't. If you had a primary, the likelihood is that she would not have been the Democratic nominee. And you can't say that about Trump in this side. You can't.
Okay, a lot of people reacting to this. Let me give you my take. Some people out there, believe it or not, do not like me. And they will say things like, oh, Clay Travis, he's a grifter. This is one of the insults that kind of floats around out there, grifter. Let me tell you this. I risked my entire career to say exactly what I think. I've written about this before, but let me tell you guys this again. I could have gotten a sports television show a decade ago if I had just shut up and gone full Skip Bayless and only given you my sports opinions. I could have sat around and argued Jordan versus LeBron. I could have sat around and only told you sports opinions and shut up on everything else, and I would have been guaranteed millions and millions of dollars for the rest of my career, and I wouldn't have been considered remotely controversial. I wasn't willing to do that because I actually care about telling you exactly what I think every day. Now, I don't expect you to agree with everything. I almost got fired for saying that I believed in only 2 things, the First Amendment and boobs. Tomorrow, I'm going to go out to dinner with my boss, Julie Talbot at iHeart. They tried to get her to fire me. Only because she had my back in 2017 am I now on the biggest radio show in the country. I went back independent with OutKick and had to go out and sell every ad. And I have had tons of big-name advertisers who have said, we're either pulling our ads because of something Clay said, or we won't spend money because of something Clay said. And I mentioned this with FanDuel. We made FanDuel tens of millions of dollars. FanDuel now is sponsoring the inaugural ball that Donald Trump threw last week. I posted a picture of it on social media. Trump came out and said, we got to keep men out of women's sports. That's what I said. And FanDuel said, Clay Travis, too controversial for us to work with. So when I see what Stephen A. Smith is saying now, I'm like, welcome to the party, pal, except you're like 5 years behind the overall trajectory of where many people have been, like me. But I also recognize that the only way you win is by bringing on new converts. Some people are the preacher who preaches to the choir. And you already have people converted, and you're going to be the person that gets them fired up. The choir is your backbone, and you're going to preach to the choir, and there's a lot of value in that. I'm a little bit different in that I think I can win any argument. And I think if people listen to me long enough, if they see a clip circulating, they start to say, hey, you know what? That guy's got some common sense. And that's why I don't mind when people used to attack. I don't get attacked now. I need to hire somebody to just keep tabs on negative things that are said about me. I can't even find them anymore. I used to get attacked all the time. Nobody even says anything negative about me now. They're basically acknowledging that I've won all the arguments. OutKick grew whatever it was, 30% last year, unheard of in media. Clay and Buck is going to have a record-breaking year of advertising revenue, audience skyrocketing everywhere. We got more people listening in Milwaukee than watching CNN overall. I mean, it's crazy stuff. And I welcome Stephen A., but I wish that he would acknowledge some of the things that he got wrong. I mean, he just voted for Kamala. It's crazy to vote one way in November and then by January say, hey, I kind of regret the way that I voted. I get it. Like, I voted for Gary Johnson in 2016 because I didn't like Hillary and I wasn't sold on Trump. Year and a half in, you go back, you can read, like, I started to say, you know what? Trump's making some good decisions. I was converted to Trump. That's how Trump went from 65 million votes in 2016 to 77 million in 2024. A lot of people who didn't vote Trump got aboard the Trump train in 20. I was one of them. And then even more people got aboard the Trump train in 24. And I think if Trump could run again in 28, that audience would continue to grow. It's why Trump has record popularity, record approval rating right now. Because there are people like Stephen A. Smith who are now getting on board the Trump train. My question is, it's awfully convenient that in November you voted Kamala, and by January you're like, I regret that, and now I think Trump is doing a lot of good things. He's been in office 8 days. And when Stephen A. talked, he'd been in office for 5 days. So I'm sympathetic, and I welcome, in a big tent fashion, lots of people who may come along and climb on board the Trump train. But I think it's hard to expect that Stephen A. went from voting for Kamala in November to saying he regrets it and he thinks Trump's doing a lot of good things by Friday when Trump has been in office a grand total of 5 days. Make sense? Like, conversions can happen, but conversions like that, I'm a little bit skeptical of. Having said that, I welcome Stephen A. into the Trump train universe. All right, we got another clip. I want to play this. Captain America, what's this guy's name? Anthony Mackie? So Captain America used to be, and I get all these dudes mixed up, one of the ripped guys who plays in the Marvel movies. What's the old Captain America? Chris Evans. I get Chris Evans mixed up with a bunch of these other dudes. They all look the same to me. They're kind of big, brawny white guys who play superheroes. They put on tights and they run around. All right, so Chris Evans, that's different than the guy who plays Thor, right? Thor and Captain America are two different people, right? Who is Thor? Chris Evans, I'm going to try to remember this now. Chris Evans has been Captain America. Who plays Thor? Because these two guys I can't tell apart. And then there's another guy who also plays the Guardians of the Galaxy guy. I need help on distinguishing between these guys. They're all the same person to me. There are three dudes. They're all named Chris. This makes me feel better. Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and Chris Pratt. Am I the only one who can't tell any of these guys apart? What are the odds they would all be named Chris, first of all? Tomorrow, remind me on this. Haley, can you – I'm gonna do a breakdown. There's got to be millions of people out there that are like me and don't know these are all different people. Haley, tomorrow, can we have a triple box picture of each of these guys, and I'm going to teach America that they're all different people. Remind me on that. Go ahead and make that happen. I can't believe they're all named Chris. That makes me feel better because I was like, who are these guys? Chris Evans is the old Captain America. He now has been replaced. Am I right about this? Anthony Mackie. I knew this. I'm not getting him confused because now there's a black Captain America. Used to be a white Captain America, one of the Chris's. Now there's a black Captain America. His name is Captain America. All right? He only has two names, Captain and America. You would think that if you were asked, hey, what does America have to do with Captain America? It would not be a supremely difficult question. Anthony Mackie, Marvel moron, part 768 actor, is asked, what does America have to do with Captain America? This was his answer.
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations. It's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor, dignity, and integrity. Someone who is trustworthy and dependable. This is kind of like an aspect of a dream coming true.
All right, he's in America. He's in Italy. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that clip we just played is in Rome. So you have the American who goes overseas for the debut of a new movie, is asked about America, and says basically America sucks. And Captain America, despite being named after America, actually stands for values that are very different for what America stands. I'm sick of this, okay? Yesterday, Selena Gomez was crying because illegal immigrant, violent criminals are being deported. Today, Anthony Mackie is over in Italy, and he's saying that Captain America doesn't stand for American values because America sucks. I'm sorry. You're getting paid millions of dollars, probably tens of millions of dollars, to put on an outfit that looks like the American flag. Can you maybe just go overseas and say America's fucking awesome and everybody wishes they lived there, and what Captain America represents is the fact that America is the greatest country in the history of the world, not without flaws, but with aspirations to be even better than it actually is? How hard is that to say? Because it's true? You're playing Captain America. Most of the audience for Marvel movies wishes they lived in the fucking United States of America. The 300 some odd million of us that were born here are insanely fortunate because there are 7 billion people, roughly, who wish every single day that they had had the good fortune to be born American citizens. You, Anthony Mackie, just got handed one of the easiest jobs of all time. You put on tights and run around and pretend to be a superhero, and you get paid tens of millions of dollars for it. If anything, you should be supremely grateful. You are making more money than almost anybody in the world to pretend to be a superhero who stands for one thing: America is awesome. And all you had to do was say, hey, America's awesome, imperfect, but awesome. The fact that I, a black guy, am now taking over to play Captain America is emblematic of the incredible opportunity that all Americans, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, have in this country today. I don't have a PR team. I don't have an entire group of people prepping me for questions and answers every single day. I just nailed it. I'm fat, not particularly athletic, and would not look good in tights. But guess what? I understand what Captain America represents better than the guy making millions of dollars a year to play Captain America. Is it too much to ask super rich people in America to just have a scintilla of gratitude for the opportunity that the greatest country in the history of the world has given you? And when you go to Europe, a country, by the way, a continent, by the way, filled with many countries that are all struggling economically and having a pinprick of the overall success of the United States, maybe, possibly, don't fucking apologize because you happen to be a citizen of the greatest country that has ever existed in the history of the world. And not only are you a citizen of the greatest country in the history of the world, you get to put on tights and pretend to be a superhero and get paid a fuck ton of money to do it. So when you get asked a layup question like, hey, your character is named Captain America, am I wrong? Was Captain America not created in the comics to beat the Nazis? Have I gotten my comic book characters confused? Somebody, Adam, am I correct here? One of these guys was frozen and then came back to life after going to World War II to fight the Nazis and becoming a biohuman. Wasn't that Captain America? Literally, this character was created to beat the Nazis. I don't know that there could be a better character creation art. Why does your character exist? Well, we wanted to create the ultimate fighting force to beat fucking Nazis. That was the creation. That's what they were thinking of when they came up with my character. So what does America represent? It represents good defeating evil. My character in particular stands for the innate goodness of America. We fucking kick the shit out of Nazis. That's why I exist. So yeah, America fucking matters when it comes to the Captain America character. And I'm not even some crazy Marvel nerd, but I know that. And I'm not getting paid tens of millions of dollars by Disney to put on tights and run around and pretend to be fighting people. So yeah, I get fired up when I see stuff like this. Because it's very basic, it's very simple, and if you truly want to stand for the excellence of America, there are lots of young kids that are going to watch this movie. And it is important that they understand American history and that it bends towards righteousness, equality, and incredible fucking ass-kicking spirit on behalf of good. And if you can't answer basic questions like that, fire his ass and go get somebody who can. Even if it's one of those Chris dudes that I can't tell the difference on. Tomorrow, come back, same time, same channel, same bat place. And I will tell you that there's actually 3 different Chris's who are all super rich putting on tights. I don't know how that happened, but evidently it's real. Also, tomorrow when you get Joy Reid, that moron at MSNBC, get the clip of her saying that America today is like on National Holocaust Remembrance Day is like Nazi Germany. I'm so sick of all these morons. I appreciate all you. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP, I am Clay Travis, and this has been OutKick the show. I'll also mention Jim Acosta getting fired tomorrow. We got a lot to get to. Congrats, Sean Duffy, new transportation secretary. I'll see you guys tomorrow.